This video is sponsored by the Design Mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.
With your trying to read.
You stole Meghan and Harry, so this is payback now.
And you sank all our tea.
Well, to be fair, they went to Canada first. So.
Yeah, and they said.
I went to Canada.
And they said no, thank you.
We wouldn't accept them.
We don't want you here.
No, we sorry.
Yeah, Mr. I thought Mr. Pickles had gone. Actually, he was so quiet.
He's just quiet. Like what?
He's on the fence.
Have you had your?
He doesn't want to offend anybody.
I know. Who? So hand up if you've had your jab now. Is it just three of us? All right.
Hang on, wife's hand.
Can I can I just say that I've arranged the setup tonight. So Hasra and Cyrus are on one side of the play. And
the right side.
Yeah, and then Bartleby and Hengist on the other. And there's a suitable amount of.
Wrong side. Yeah.
Hasra and Captain are they're making longer,
Come on,
essentially.
use your words.
Yes, I can't think right now. I'm sorry, I'm really hungover.
Boy words.
I'm sorry. We're making longer plans because we know in real life we're gonna last longer.
Really, you're not.
And on that
It's because I think we refused to help them in this. They didn't mean to us.
there's going to
No
be
heals for you and no tanking for you.
There's going to be
You're on your own now.
Not DPS today, baby.
Oh right, okay then. Let's make a start. Your mic sounds really good tonight, Longshank CPG. By the way.
That's because I'm leaning right close.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, I got it then. Got it.
Is there normally an issue?
Dog taking his fucking toes.
Sorry, I'll just put my mature content on.
Sorry, Lisa is still miffed off with. She left some toast on the couch.
It was
And then went into the
Medivac.
kitchen, and the dog ate it.
No, it was Medivac.
Yeah, Medivac.
It was Medivac. Just blame it on the dog like you do everything else.
I
The
thought.
thing is, she was in a Zoom meeting, and all her colleagues saw the dog go.
It was Medivac dressed as the dog.
The dog.
I thought she said toes and not toast. So all I heard was
Toast.
that the dog has eaten my toes, and I thought there was some kind of strange fetish going on.
That's on Sundays. It's Saturday.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Pickles is really wishing he hadn't come into the Zoom today.
No. There's no place like home.
No, there's no place like home. Yeah, hello everyone and welcome. Welcome back. Wow, what a fantastic session we had last week. Is everyone awake for this one? Yes, well, they are at the moment. I just sort of like noticed that we're still on the death scene, how we left it last time. So everybody.
English Robbie Williams.
So Christoph is there in his glory. I noticed that Hengist, you seem to have got a red cross through you.
Yeah, I don't know why. I had the same thing as everyone else, the black tentacle stuff coming up over my face, but I seem to have a red cross.
Yeah, well, Hasra didn't have that. Hasra just had his leg nearly ripped off.
Oh yeah, Hasra had his leg ripped off.
He went very early. I was quite shocked how quickly
To be
Hasra...
fair, last week I was legless from the start.
And so was Cyrus. He was...
That just shows what a hero I am. I dived in straight away. jumped
Yeah.
out, and then, died. Took one from the team.
Yeah, and I was talking about it in the
He was
stream.
trying to tank.
Yeah. What I was thinking is that Hengist is really hard to kill. Really hard to kill because the amount of damage that you have to do to get through his armor is huge. However, that amount of damage has to sort of like come straight through your gym jams, doesn't it?
It's like onesie.
I had visions.
I think Hasra needs to wear 2.5 pairs of gym jams to get the same amount.
And yeah,
A very woolly sweater.
I bet, yeah.
Well,
And
the guy from Ghostbusters.
yes, exactly. The Marshmallow Man, the Michelin Man, yeah. And I didn't know whether or not Hasra would be looking out for new armor and see whether or not he could.
Walking plate?
Yeah.
Would you even be able to stand up in plate armor?
No. I can't do those lovely little splits like Jean Clam. He's the C version.
Yeah. So welcome back, everyone. Yes, Bunny Box. Let's have another awesome session. She says. I am totally at the, I can only respond to the players, Bunny Box. That's the only thing I could do. It's in their hands.
One rule is one awesome session per month.
Yeah, and we've had it. Yep. That's it. So before I give a quick synopsis about what happened, the story so far, I'm going to allow the players an opportunity for them to say who they are and who they were playing last week, and hopefully still is going to be playing this week, but we will see what happens. Okay, Mr. Pickles, go for it.
I am Mr. Pickles, and I play Bartleby Fumus, which is our team's theist in this group. One of 2 spellcasters, Bartleby serves the light moon goddess Amriel, and is able to mostly do helpful things, protect people from damage, from spirits, from being injured by disease or poison, put limbs back on. Last session, I think I put a leg back on somebody, or at least temporarily. Bartleby doesn't have a lot of the major healing abilities, but he has a lot of options to help people. He does have some combat ability, but it's mostly just telling people to take a chill pill and then having Amriel force them sometimes. He brings a lot of knowledge to the group about the area we're in, specifically history of the lands, monsters. He knows a lot about the lower, more impoverished areas of Lindowe. We call it Lower Lindowe. But he can't do a lick of damage. He's generally pretty naively helpful of people, but he's easily scared since he can't really do much to stop people beyond standing in their way. And with that, I'll throw you guys on over to Longshank CPG.
I am Hengist.
Is that it?
If you don't know who Hengist is by now, you need to listen to the Bard Tales.
I thought there'd be a story of heroism in there. Of how many times Hengist has saved people.
Yeah. How many anecdotes though?
Not
really
this time.
heroism?
Not this time. They're all spent out. I've said them so many times. It's
Oh, God.
he's so famous that if you haven't heard of him,
Yeah.
you've been living under a rock.
He's the longest serving member of the group. He has actually been
3.5 years.
Yeah. When other people have come and gone, he has remained
Hengist
steadfast.
is the steadfast rock of this group. No, in all seriousness, Hengist is a warrior. He's recently, well, semi-recently. No, he's been a member of House Glot for quite a while now. And he's slowly trying to move in social circles, but he's not a very charismatic person. That is what Hengist would do. He was like, I am Hengist type thing. He wears heavy armor. He gets hit hard, and he hits even harder about 50% of the time. And that's about what I'm actually going to say.
That-
because I've completely bungled what I wanted to do.
Just before you pass on, I have to say that Bunnybox in the chat has just said, maybe this time Mr. Pickles is a bit more alert to his surroundings and his enemy. Sorry, is this a vampire? Did somebody...
An audience call out?
What?
What? Yeah,
No,
actually,
Mr.
this time I'll try.
Mr. Pickles was playing his character.
It's not a goblin. I don't know.
Yeah,
Committing to
it's
the
a
role.
sky
He's
goblin.
committing
No, it's a smoke goblin. Or a blood
What?
goblin.
I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to
Goat
invent a whole range of monsters that are all some kind of goblins.
Menagerie.
Yeah, I think that. Who do you want to pass on to Longshanks CPG?
I will pass it on to Medivac.
There you go.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm Medivac, and I play Hasra Khan. He is a scout trucker nomad. He loves to kill things with his spear. He has a scimitar. He likes to wear a onesie, which is padded armor, which is lovely in normal circumstances, unless you've been hacked by a bloodthirsty vampire-type dream catcher weaver thingy. He doesn't like cities much because he loves the wilderness. He doesn't like the whole confinement of social people wandering around, bumping into you. He likes being trees and loving things. He is a member of the Brotherhood, who is a group of people that keep records of the various biomes and areas of where we are, and they monitor how things affect and change these areas, and they do try to maintain a delicate balance. And recently, he's had some amazingly strange mystical dreams, and that had nothing to do with what he was smoking, possibly. But yes, he has a little totem character group. Don't really know about this, or I think Bartleby does, because he did a detect magic thing at one point and it glowed. He has talked to this saber tooth that he has, or jaguar tooth, shall I say? Not saber tooth, that's a game from the 80s. Right, and with that, I shall pass on to Captain.
Can I just interrupt? We in no way endorse taking drugs, people. Stay safe.
Crack is whack. Anyways, hey,
I don't
everybody.
know. Longshanks, you trained to be a teacher, and that's it. You come all moral now.
No, it's purely because
I
Medivac started
remember
talking about
you.
taking drugs, so I
remember
thought
you,
it's going on the
Longshanks.
internet. We don't endorse it.
I bet.
Hashtag
I
cancel
think it was smoking.
Mythras.
Sorry, just to let you know, Bunnybox has a comeback for Hasra as well. I bet Hasra has a vast knowledge about dreams and herbs. Or if you're from America, dreams and herbs. I know you don't.
Ebs.
Especially in LA.
Go for it.
We don't like H's. Anyways, hey everybody, I'm Captain Kangaroo. I am playing Cyrus alias tonight. Cyrus is the sorcerer of the group. He is a DPS based. I don't know what you're doing. Box? What? Anyways, no, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, he's a kind of a fiery personality. He definitely has a lot of vices that he's slowly trying to work through. He is a member of the Order of the Phoenix, which is an order of sorcerers who are more war dependent and definitely a lot more aggressive than the other orders. Besides that, we're slowly working on I don't know, his shortcomings, I think is the best way to describe it. We'll work on it though. We're gonna figure out what that means because it's a revelation for all. It's kind of a twist, but I think we're slowly figuring out what that means and how it's going to play as his role to others in the group. From there, I'm going to pass the baton to our GM in Wills.
Thank you. I think there's been a party vote that if there's any locked doors that have a suitable gap underneath.
Entrances and things like that.
No gnomes on the table.
Yeah, then
This is never going to get old, by the way.
no, it's not. I'm going to love it. Whatever. Okay, so the party had a really exciting session last week. there was various things went on. It appeared that Hasra was betrayed by someone because he went to stake out the entrance to the sewers, hoping to find how the sniffling boar, who Christoph is in charge of, the new inn, got their supplies in. But he was rather, well, not annoyed, taken back that somebody had actually told on him, and people were out to get him. Luckily, using his wonderful hiding and stealth rolls, he managed to keep hidden throughout the whole conversation. And despite failing his perception roll, Bunny Box came to his aid and actually gave him some bitties, which allowed him to make his roll. I think that was when we had the 2 lots of 100, one after another.
Yes, it was.
I'm not going to try to predict anything tonight at all.
That's going to burn you as a witch.
Exactly. Cyrus spent some time in the tavern with his friends from the boat that him and Bartleby fixed some time ago from the Sea Devils adventure. Cyrus got rather merry. No, he got intoxicated. By the time he came back, he failed every single roll, and he actually regurgitated most of his food and alcohol back onto the table. He did find out some really interesting things that nobody knew Christoph a couple of months ago or anything like that, but also that the sailors had found his brother, or somebody who looked very much like him, but was taller. And that was an interesting point that came across in the last adventure. And then in the second half of the session, the party thought they were going to the Hairy Hobgoblin to meet up in the morning, where that was dark and overcast. And they met Christoph, who is the owner of the Sniffling Boar. And they had a massive battle. And Christoph quite easily at that point slaughtered the party one by one. He ripped Hasra's legs off. I forget, or he drove his black magic into Hengist. I forget what he did to Bartleby. I just remember Bartleby was just rushing backwards and forwards trying to save people. That's all that I remember from that. And last to go was Cyrus. And quite effectively, Hengist was the hardest one to kill because he's actually made out of metal and he's very tough. But just as the party died, they realized that in true D&D style, they had just exhibited or experienced a nightmare. And that's when the knowledgeable Mr. Bartleby suddenly realized, after a quick look in some books, that there is some description of a creature that can induce mass nightmares across a town or city or village, and that is known as a Dream Stalker. And that piece of information was where we left it last week. Christoph has agreed to let the poorer people back, or encourage the poorer people back to Hairy Hobgoblin by closing his doors from them, which meant that the Hairy Hobgoblin is no longer on the way down, but hopefully later on today will be on the way up. Yes, now then, it's going to be morning, and each and every one of you had rather a rough night, I think. And I think you'd all be totally in agreement with that. And even though you've maybe got back to sleep for a few minutes, it's been a really rough night. Remember, several of you heard as you woke up people within your church or down in the bottom of the tavern or where Basil was, people screaming as they woke up as well. And it becomes really apparent as you are engaging with people in the morning that most of the people that you meet in your little circles are quite tired, withdrawn, pale looking. They all look like several of your servants, Hengist, are yawning. People in the church, they look quite docile and fatigued. And it would appear that the majority of the people that you actually meet today have actually had a disturbing night. Now, this is the first night of the nightmares, and so you are required to roll a fatigue check for me. However, because it's the first night, then the roll will actually be a very easy roll. Okay, so it shouldn't be too hard to pass unless you get hundreds, 99s and hundreds, and actually fumble it. So the first thing that you all need to do is roll your endurance. Let's see who. Most of you should be all right. Just waiting for captains. Come on, 100. If it won't roll, just pick a number, Captain. Just there you go. How did you?
Do it again.
Would you like to use a point of luck?
Yeah, I'll start off the night with the first roll of the point of luck.
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay then.
That
So
worked out really well for me last week.
yeah. So your point of luck goes off, and you're all not suffering any fatigue. If you fail that roll, then you will actually have one level of fatigue until you sleep again, and it'll just keep on increasing. On this evening, Bartleby and Cyrus, you will get your full lot of magic points back. Bartleby, you can exchange some of them into your devotion pool. Please remember that they should be at the level that they were before you had the dream sequence last night, in last session. And please, if you adjusted any of your hit points or anything like that, make sure you put them back again to what they were at before the dream fight. Just to let you know, Cyrus and Bartleby, if you fail a fatigue roll, okay, then you don't get all your magic back, your magic points back, because obviously you cannot maintain that sleep that is needed throughout the night. But as long as you make your endurance roll, then it is assumed that you've managed to catch enough sleep to get magic points back. So I'm afraid, Cyrus and Bartleby, you're going to have double whammy, because you could be fatigued, and then you could also not have all your magic points as the day progresses. One thing that this is made very clear to all of you is, and just to let you know, Hasra, I didn't tell you last week, but you remember we had that little signal that I said be wary of?
Yes.
Yeah, the only reason that was is that I didn't know where you were going to sleep.
Oh.
So if you actually went home, the Dream Stalker, as you found out last week, is affecting Lindowe. So
That's right,
you
I
would
would
have
be out
been,
of
you would have actually been out of it.
I had a peaceful sleep. I remember that for next time.
Yeah, and that's something that you're very much aware of now, that you could go there and invite your friends back, and you know, I think it's only got one room, but I mean, you're all cozy buddies. You can also like
There's nowhere to live.
slump down together. Yeah. I doubt whether or not anybody will follow all four of you going back. You know, so that's it. So you're all. Did you all stay at the Hairy Hobgoblin last time?
No, I did. I stayed with Cyrus.
Yeah.
Pickles went back to his church, and Longshanks went back. Hengist went back to his
House.
Okay then.
Manor.
So just so you
He
know,
invited me back, but I said no. I'll see what happens.
you would stay true to
Sleep in a
Cyrus.
lovely comfy pillow.
Yeah. So you get
If I
up.
can too.
You get up in the morning and You take breakfast as always, and you are quite nervous actually heading back to meet up at their hairy hobgoblin as arranged, and it almost like feels like deja vu as you're getting closer and closer to it, and you're quite pleased to see that there is a bit of hazy sunshine this morning that is poking through the not a fog, a low-lying mist, and it's sort of like penetrating the clouds a bit, and there's glimpses of hope. But what you do notice, all of you, as you get up, move around, etc., you do notice that as the stall keepers are setting out their wares, or opening windows, as the guards are walking around, there seems to be a lot of yawning and very disheveled looking people. Nobody looks their best at the present moment in time at all, and you almost like get the feeling that perhaps you were not the only ones that actually experienced this. Does anybody not want to share with the party what happened in their dreams?
Hasra is going to share what happened with everybody. With a smile on his face and a little bit of, I told you so.
So if everybody's quite happy to sort of like share, we can just take it that you've had that conversation, and so there's no need to sort of like yeah, go for it.
Yeah, he'd also like to ask if Basil, because he's going to go downstairs for breakfast at Basil's table, and he'd be like, "Do you know, Basil, I had a terrible night's sleep last night. It was the strangest dream I've ever had. Did you sleep well?"
I will look up. I'm assuming I'll just be staring, not wanting to eat what's in front of me.
It's just cold belly pork.
Did anyone see that stick from the table?
From last night, and it's the one you chucked up in.
Yeah, you.
I don't know if anyone cleaned up the sick, Angus.
It got spread.
It's
Oh,
is it sick or is it country gravy? We don't know.
Yeah, doing sandwiches.
There's a nice sheen on the table and that lovely sick smell, and there's bits of sawdust on the plates. And that's sorry.
Angus is sitting over here.
American people. I don't know what happens when children are sick at school, but when we were growing up, they now have a special chemical that put it up, but they used to just cover it with sawdust.
Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah. Now they have a special. So Basil Hasra sort of like says, "Oh yes, Mr. Hasra, I had an awful night's sleep. I dreamt that there was something coming up out of the basement and eating me and dragging me back into the ground. There were big hairless moles that were just coming out and sort of like eating me. It was dreadful."
Basil, I've seen I've seen what's below the deck right now, and it probably wasn't a dream. It probably just a pest probably you have.
Just out of interest, Hengist knows that because that's what the original adventure was. That
first story in Lindowe was
clearing
out giant rats in the basement.
And
I didn't know this.
What you gonna do?
Yeah, so you can see it's almost like Hengist, you recognise there that Basil wasn't reliving a future in his dream. It was more that he was reliving a past, a previous event that had happened. Well, yours all seem to be this could happen.
Got it.
Which is interesting because we need to. Sorry, Hasra. That's interesting, Basil, because the dreams we had were like things we'd never. I mean, Hengist has told me about your problem in the cellar before that you had, and the way he helped you in the most wonderful way. But our dreams were more. They were together. We were all together, and they were more.
Oh,
That's
that
something that didn't happen.
that probably sort of like explains. You are all very close. I mean, I have nobody really in the world, just me all by myself. Well, you probably have each other. You know, you're all together. I expect you all helping each other. Well, I had no one to help me. I was just getting pulled off with hairless moles.
Basil. Some things are meant for the best.
You're our friend, Basil. I mean, you know the way I look to you. I supply you with meats. Even when you cannot pay me, I still bring you meat.
Yeah. And
You're my friend, Basil.
at that point,
You'll never feel you are alone.
At that point, there's a knock at the door, at the inn door, and it's sort of like as if to say, you know, it's not a da-da-da, it's a da-da. And Basil goes over and he sort of goes, Mick, welcome. He says, are you open? Oh yes, Mick, come in. We're always open for old familiar customers like you. Well, yeah, I just wanted to. I wonder, can I have a drink? Yes, the first one's on the house. Mick, no. He says, I have some coins, and he sort of like, you see from where you sat that this rather lowly man. He probably, each of you just, have you got your memory rolls sorted out or your character sheets?
Yep.
Yeah. It should be double your intelligence. Yep. So just roll your memory rolls. Or Hasra remembers.
I don't know how to do memory. I'll just do a roll, 1d100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just you multiply
my
your...
numbers ended up being the same, so I just had it as the same roll, the IDA and memory.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. So what's your intelligence? It won't be that high.
12. 12 is my intelligence.
Yeah, so your idea roll is 60, yeah. So you...
Well, my intelligence is 12, and mine's 40, isn't it?
I thought it was intelligence times 5. 48 yours is.
Yeah.
I might have changed it. I thought it was just times 5, but it might not have been. I'll check it back. That's not a problem.
Okay.
Just to let you know, so anybody who makes their memory roll, you actually remember that you've seen Mick before. He's often sat in the corner, and he seems to be one of these people who is a permanent resident of the tavern. And you also know that a lot of times Basil has extended the hand of friendship in the form of a free ale or mead because he doesn't have that much money. He's rather a beggar rather than a tradesperson or a merchant or anything like that. And you sort of like see him and think, oh, people are coming back. And you see when he says, I have some coins. And he brings out what appears to be a very small but perfectly formed velvet coin bag. And he sort of like holds it out in his hand, and he doesn't get it from inside or anything like that. He just seems to have had it in his hand. And he's sort of like, Basil sort of like looks at it, and he's sort of like, "Oh, right, Mick, this is such a you can keep it. I'm just can I have my usual table?" And Basil says, "Of course, I will bring you over your favourite ale." He says, "Okay," and he sort of like goes over, and you see Basil just sort of like almost like tossed this coin bag up and down slightly, and then puts it into his robe, and he then busies himself getting the ale for Mick and goes over to him, and they seem to be talking down in the bottom southeastern corner of the tavern about things.
Is anyone going to point out that that's probably why his business is almost failing? That the second a new customer walks in, he offers him a free drink.
Oh, you harsh person, you.
But did you notice how he palmed the purse of money?
This is
Yeah,
Lindowe,
seasons
not
around
America.
And if you think, take my money.
All right, so Hasra, what were you saying about your dream?
But my dream, I made sure you were fine, Cyrus. I slept in the room you were in to make sure you didn't swallow your own tongue after you might have alcohol you drank last night. So, you know, it's things we do after our friends. And my dream, I dreamed a dream of freedom.
Christ.
I dreamed that we were out in the street, well, four of us, which is very strange because Cyrus and I were slipped in the Hobgoblin. But for this dream, we were walking from the north of the Hobgoblin down by the looks of it. And there was this creature was eating Harmony Lee, and he tore her throat out. And when this creature stood up, it was Christoph. And he was very sorry.
We had the same dream.
We dreamed the same dream, yes.
Thank the heavens. I thought I was gonna have to stop drinking. Oh, good. All right, that's good news. That's good news.
In your dream, Cyrus, you definitely remember that Hasra fell first, by the way.
Yeah, I
You know
remember.
We
I
dreamed
remember
the same dream.
you were
We
at your
dreamed the
best.
same dream.
Yeah. But did you two dream the same thing? I point to Bartleby and Hengist.
Yes, I seem to have had the same dream as the two of you.
What does that mean?
Well, I think I have an answer of sorts.
Any
because I think-
dream will do.
All right, book nerd, come on, tell me what you think.
That was a little hurtful, but yes, I thought I'd heard of something like this before, and after Hengist and I saw Harmony Lee, I thought there might be something strange going on, something that I wasn't able to break with Amriel's power. But I think what we're dealing with here is a Dream Stalker, alternatively, Dream Goblin of sorts. Amriel puts a lot of emphasis on the abstract nature of dreams, and I think that's why we saw who we did. We saw our greatest concerns. We saw Harmony Lee in danger's way, as Hengist and I did when we were up at her house trying to cure her of a darkness growing within. And I don't know. We know the name of what might be haunting us and many other people here. It's just I'm not sure what to do.
It's attacking. That's what I was thinking. If it's attacking us in our dreams, how do we slay it?
But before you go any further, you say that Christoph is not this horrible creature that will destroy us all.
He might still be, obviously, but I don't think that our dream, shared as it was, is evidence of that, unless he himself is the Dream Stalker.
But
Surely it would not make tactical sense to reveal yourself in that way if you're hiding.
well, just take a moment, Hengist, because yesterday you came to myself and you came to Captain Kangaroo. You came to Cyrus, sorry. Captain Kangaroo is a friend of Cyrus. He was in the bar in the corner. You don't know him. And you said that how wonderful this Christoph was and how beautiful he was, and Bartleby said how wonderful his library was, and you had a gorgeous meal with him, and he was the best thing ever. You said that he was even better than us. Well, you didn't, but I put that in.
I do
I
remember you
said
saying
everything
something
up to-
stupid like that.
I said everything up to him being better than you two.
Yeah, no, he would never
Then
win
you're
that
making
contest.
you're making that bit up.
So you're saying we're better than him?
Wow, you're equal. You're different company. Has you cannot
so-
compare.
You are a cunning politician.
He will do well in the areas of politics and intrigue.
You need to help Bartleby with his yes, anyway.
All right, so what's the plan? Who are we gonna kill? I got one rule: no kids. Unless that kid's a dick, then the rule's a little negotiable.
Okay, well, first off, Cyrus, I'm a little surprised. The last sorcerer I knew was a little bit more get answers first, shoot second. I think we should get answers, and this might be an obscure topic. When I've researched monster stories before, it's always a pain. And the Library of Amriel might not have much more than I already saw. We might go to see our old friend.
Yes!
Sylvester, because he has
I
rare
wonder how
maps
he's
and
doing.
books.
I wonder how old Sylvester's
Thick
doing.
and dangerous man, Bartleby.
I think it would just be wise to maybe check in with him.
I don't know.
He's helped us in instances in the past. Whenever we needed a map or information.
That is true. He has put us on the right foot many a time.
I say we finish our cold pork belly,
Yeah.
and we.
I don't.
Can I bring
There's some
it
puns
home?
happening. I'm not aware of.
I'm going to record this.
I've got him. I found him.
Oh, amazing! Oh, amazing!
Oh
All
my
right.
god.
So we got a plan.
Yes, we're gonna see if he knows.
Give me
anything
about 10 minutes to see if I can actually stand up, and we'll head over. Unless you want to carry me.
Well, actually, last time, ignoring you completely here, Cyrus. Last time we usually brought him a gift or something to trade.
That is true.
Yeah.
Dude.
Do
Do you know what?
he likes
I may,
owls?
after this, I may go see
He does
some friends
like
of mine
owls.
who
How
maybe
did you
have to
remember he liked
He
owls?
does like owls.
Well, because he had the big owl behind him.
He does,
and, I
yeah.
think
He likes them
Buy an owl
stuffed.
ornament. Let's buy an owl ornament or
George,
kill an
you're
owl.
Can I just remind the party that last time Bartleby bought an ornament for some...
Oh, God.
It was a fertility ornament.
Yeah, we don't want to do that with Sylvester.
Amriel guided me. That's all I have to say
But it
about my
worked out for
fertility
Bartleby.
ornaments.
It worked out for Bartleby in the end.
So is the plan that are you going to get something for Sylvester? Is this
Yes. Yeah.
okay? So
Stop by the market and see if we can find something neat. I have some commerce skill. If we need to.
I have some coin to give Bartleby. for
Hengist also
commerce.
has. Hengist has the pocket.
okay then. So tell me first, Bartleby, what sort of thing are you hoping to get?
Oh, birdie.
A stuffed owl, and if I can get this might be an odd choice, but if it has like a gemstone inset, or like its eyes are gemstones or something cool like that,
Oh.
might be a creative choice that he might disagree with entirely, but it might also strike his fancy.
So probably not something stuffed. Probably more something ornate. Maybe with some
ornate might be better than stuffed in this case.
Maybe a brass owl.
Yeah. Okay then. So blind roll me a percentile dice, and then tell me what your commerce skill is.
The blind roll next to augment hit location works, right?
Yeah, should do. Okay, and then tell me what your commerce roll is.
My commerce is a 43.
43. Okay then. So here's the next question. If you have failed, do you wish to look it?
It'd be kind of funny if I failed and didn't look it.
Yeah, I think they can.
I think I am going to luck it though,
Okay then.
if need be.
Okay then. So if it's failed, you're going to luck it, but obviously if it's succeeded, you're just going to leave it how it is, yeah?
Yes.
Okay then. Can you blind roll another one for me, please?
Absolutely. All the blindness.
Okay, and I will tell you, how many luck points do you have left at the moment?
This would be my first for the session.
So
So 2 left.
2 left. So you have 3 in total. Okay then.
Correct.
Okay then. So yeah, you're heading off to Sylvester Macoon's place. Now, just for everybody who haven't met Sylvester before, this is what Sylvester looks like. He is a very opinionated, but very knowledgeable. There was some indication that he is a member of perhaps some kind of secret organization that supports freedom and rights. If you remember Lord Dresden, from up by the swamp knows him. And there was some indication of rings. He is a cartographer, and he knows a lot about the general area. However, he has never been a fan of well, I think he gets on better with some of you than he does some others. And of course, Cyrus, you have never met Sylvester McCoon ever. And he is a well-known person in Lindowe. He probably, you assume from his position that he probably has the ear of Count Bastion, who is the ruling regal or legal baron of Lindowe. He has a huge amount of knowledge. However, he very rarely actually he doesn't like to actually give that knowledge out for nothing. In the past, Bartleby has been the one who actually speaks to Sylvester. He had rather contentious attitude towards Gulliver, and things can go downhill very quickly if the correct words are not spoken. And once Sylvester McCoon says that he's not going to do something, then that is it.
I feel like there's some insinuation of what might take place.
And I think
this.
I think as you wander over to Sylvester's place, I can probably imagine Bartleby saying, "Just keep your mouth shut, Cyrus. Whatever you do not say anything."
Shut up! Whereas
Hasra is looking at things like more like a car crash.
Yeah, and they're sort of like. He sort of says, "Look, this is important. We really need this information. Otherwise, we're going to have a brick end. Just nod, smile, and be nice. Perhaps the last one is not in your actual remit or your
ability.
If you have any input you need to give, you tell him."
Bartleby will also go through
don't say anything at all. Just don't talk.
Okay.
If he calls you short, you gotta just roll. If he calls you a little girl, you just roll with it. If he mentions your fieriness in a really hurtful way, just keep your eye on the prize. You got this, right?
Please tell.
Do we mention he's a merchant?
Please,
Fine.
please. I can imagine that Bartleby's just going over his mind the prayer of calmness. Just to get ready to. Well, yeah. Okay, so
Why would I mess everything up for the whole party?
So if you
That's
remember,
not what I do.
Sylvester's shop, it looks really run down. The windows are very dusty and dirty. It doesn't look like it's a really expensive shop at all. And as far as you're actually concerned, you have never actually seen anybody buy or sell anything at Sylvester's shop. It's almost as if he's somebody, it's as if this is a front for something. But you also know that his mannerisms would not actually promote good wheeling and dealing. It is, remember, very dark in the shop. He has candles on as in the picture, and he smokes a pipe similar to Gandalf, and there's often that smell when you go in of very heavy tobacco. And if anybody would like to, Cyrus and Hengist, roll your locale skills for me.
Okay.
I'm assuming that Bartleby would probably not frequent himself of tobacco in the church.
Would commerce be my locale?
No, it's actually a skill called locale.
Standard skill.
Oh, it's standard. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm good then. My bad.
Anybody looking? No. So you
No.
you think the smell is it's got very rich undertones to it, but neither of you. I was just wondering whether or not Cyrus or Hengist has smelt something similar in their wheelings and dealings. And is Bartleby leading the fray, and is everybody going in to the shop?
Hengist will go in.
And yes, about Bartleby.
What about
He's going last. He's going last because
and staying by the door?
met him before. Yes, he'd met before. He's been sitting in a quiet corner, a little darkened corner, just to the left of the door, at the inside.
Yeah.
Like I'm not trying to cause issues, but does the weird smell make me feel like I want to vomit?
No, it's quite a rich. It's almost like smells like a really fine port or something like that.
Okay.
It's one of those wonderful smells that if it wasn't carcinogenic, the smoke would be quite nice to breathe in. Hasra, you can, if you wish, try to make a stealth roll to try to be as hidden as possible.
Do you know what? As improper as it would be, I will do that.
So just remind you, people who are watching it, any rolls that come up on a yellow background, the players cannot see those. Only we can, and that's it. Yeah, so you sort of walk into a nice sort of area, and you all enter the shop. And as always, the door is very stubborn to get on in, and then it has one of those annoying little bells up at the top that goes bling like that. And as you walk in, Bartleby, Sylvester is, as always, seems to be writing with his quill and piece of parchment, and he seems to be recording something at the table. He seems to have a glass, as always, of some wine from a decanter, or maybe port or sherry or something like that. His pipe is in its rack, but it seems to be constantly aglow, and if it does start to dim at all, he does absent-mindedly picks it up, puffs it a few times and put it back. And yes, the owl is spread out behind him as always. And as you cling the door, the first thing that you notice is Sylvester letting out a huge and without looking up, he says, "Yes."
It won't discourage me at all. Bartleby just walks right on up, holding whatever he ended up purchasing at the market, and says, "Well, hello, Sylvester. It's good to see you again."
And he slowly puts the quill down, and this is it's you, Mr. Churchman. And he sort of leans over and looks sort of behind you. And I see you brought two of your friends with you again.
Why, yes. Well, we are on business as per usual, but we were going through the market and I saw this owl and I thought of you.
He seems to be puzzled about something. And then he says, "Boy, have you dyed your hair? And is that stubble I see on your chin?"
Oh,
Who's he
back there?
talking to?
He seems to be talking to you, Cyrus.
What'd you call me?
What I always call you. Boy.
I've never met you in my life.
Oh, sorry. Are you not the young child Gulliver?
No.
Right. Believe me,
Who are you?
You could certainly pass for him. Maybe if we keep the lights down low. And, well, yes. Are you as talented as he is?
At what? Being a child?
Whatever you think is appropriate to answer. If you believe it's to be a child, then please indulge me and let me know what you think. Would you consider
Can you describe Sylvester a bit? Like, is he an old man or
My headphones have gone off. So you can hear it. You can hear Hasra. You can hear. It's just that you can't. Your stealth roll has been successful, so Sylvester can't see you. You have sort of like. I don't know whether or not he's listening now.
Yeah, I don't know if his headphones have gone off.
I thought he meant that they'd like had a technical problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, he can't hear you. If
Oh right, I said.
Yeah, if it's whatever you're saying.
I'll just continue then. Yeah, and he sort of like says, I thought he was thinking I won't hear this, so that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
like a really good role player. So no, you know. Yeah, so he sort of like says, yes, whatever you're good at, if anything.
So what does Sylvester look like? He's an old man?
Exactly what he looks like on the.
It's black screen for me.
It's a black screen for me.
Oh, you should.
I was about to say he hasn't paid his candle bill.
I was waiting for you to do the reveal.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Heck
All
yeah.
right, perfect. Now I got some feel for this fire. All right. And what was I supposed to mistake you for? A decrepit old corpse?
Is that for me, Mr. Bartleby?
Yes. Ignore Cyrus. He's our new sorcerer friend. Gulliver's off on business, of course.
I'm gonna start like walking around the shop and like just start touching things, and like sniffing things and stuff.
Yeah, and you notice that Sylvester sort of like observes Cyrus going around the shop, and then he sort of like seems to watch him go around the shop, and then he returns to your ornament and he says, I have no need for this.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess it just reminded me of you. I saw it in the market and I thought, why not go and visit my friend Sylvester?
He says, you have visited, now you may leave.
While I'm here, though, I did actually have a question of whether or not you might have heard of something.
And he sort of like leans forward to you and says, take your friends and leave my shop.
Right.
I'm gonna. Am I hearing this? As
Oh yes, he's not saying it not to hear for you not to hear. If anything, he's probably saying it so you hear.
All right, I'm gonna approach him. Look, obviously we start off in the wrong foot. I don't want to be here just as much as you want to see me, but my friend here thinks you're the person that might be able to help the situation the whole town's kind of running into. I think you probably suffered from the same thing we all did last night.
He looks straight into your eye. Would you like to roll either a deceit or an influence? It's up to you. You're either trying to deceive him that you really like him and should be on board, or you're trying to convince him to be on board.
I'm not deceiving. I'm thinking I'm being
okay then.
Like I'm not saying I'm like him or anything. I'm just saying, hey, we need your help.
Go for it.
This is gonna be influence, so let me look it up. Okay. All right, going for it.
He sort of like, he looks at you for one moment and then he says, please move away from the table. There are things on here that I would not like people like you to see. They might be burnt into your brain for a long time.
I'll step back and okay. Just at least listen to what we have to offer or what to ask for, right?
Mr. Bartleby, show me that trinket.
Well, yes. I hold it over to him. I'm trying to stay back as well after he said that. Hold it out to him.
He sort of like picks it up and looks over it and turns it upside down. And he sort of like looks around, sort of like says, "Not a bad ornament at all. Is it for me?"
Oh, yes, it is. It is for you.
A
Definitely.
gift for me, Mr. Bartleby. I don't know what one says to gifts from church people.
Well, I did have a question, whether or not you've heard of Dream Stalkers before.
Oh, sorry. This is a bribe.
Well, I mean, it's a gift and a friendly question.
A gift, a bribe, or a payment. Mr. Bartleby, all of three are completely different. A gift is something that you hand over to somebody free of any charge at all. It is something that you give to people who you like, adore, think are precious. A bribe, and, well, to give in exchange for a need or something that you want would hardly be a gift, would it not?
That is
For
very
example,
true.
Amriel gives you gifts. She doesn't ask for payment back, I am assuming.
Well, I feel that there's a set of conduct to go with those gifts.
Conduct from a church person. Yeah. Such as, what do you have to repay Amriel?
Well, it'd be a shame if I used her gifts and then used it to hurt people, right?
So you're still using the gifts. So when she gives you a gift, you don't pay it back. You just use it appropriately.
Yeah, and I thought that might be an appropriate paperweight there that you got.
Oh, it's a paperweight.
It has multiple uses. I think
you are giving me something to hold my papers down, in case the multitude of people who enter my house, my room, day after day, will cause such a stiff breeze that my parchments will be blown all over the place. How, well, let me think. Thoughtful.
So you haven't heard anything about Dream Stalkers?
Roll your influence. Since you, just to let you know, your commerce skill was 22, so you did succeed in it. And just to let you know, you rolled your luck and that was 28, so you succeeded twice. But you don't lose your luck.
That's good to know. Influence, big money.
It is an easy roll, yeah. Tell me, what do you desire, O church person?
I think that there might be a Dream Stalker taking advantage of the people of Lindowe. The books in the church told me just enough to know the name. I was hoping you might know more, perhaps how to stop this thing.
I'm just reading my notes, by the way, and it just says, if the party is foolish enough to meet Sylvester.
I trust him.
Dream Stalker, you say?
Yes.
And he sort of like peruses the shop round. And he sort of like looks at you, Hengist, and says, Tin Man, third shelf, fourth one in from the right. If you're puzzled about which one is the right, that's the one you carry your sword in.
Angus doesn't say anything, but he goes and gets the book and then passes it to Sylvester.
And Sylvester takes it, and without looking at it, he says, No, Tin Man, the other one. There was 2 books in there.
Angus will go and get the other book, not say anything, but his eyebrows above his helmet, under his helmet, are up.
And he sort of like
raised.
he takes the second book and puts it on top of the other book, and then he doesn't open them. He doesn't even look at them. He just turns to Bartleby and says, Dream Stalker, you say?
Yes.
So what do you already know, Churchman?
Well, I'm certain that there is a Dream Stalker causing nightmares to happen.
Yes,
I'm
well,
afraid that's a...
yes, well done. You know, I thought that would have been, you know, a given due to the name, Dream Stalker. He's hardly going to be making candy bars, isn't he?
It'd be much nicer if he was, but I wouldn't be here if he was.
Yes. Maybe I can convince him to make candy bars.
I'm not sure if that's possible or not, but I have a feeling it isn't. I just know it's affecting the people of Lindowe, and somebody has to stop it. Haven't you had nightmares?
What happens in my bedchamber, Churchman, is between me and sleep. It will never be a concern of your own, although you probably might wish it to be. Bringing me paperweights.
All I know is that there's people who were screaming last night as I awoke, and we all had a shared dream. There must be something you know about these Dream Stalkers.
Oh, indeed I do. I was asking, what do you already know? It seems very little.
That's why we're seeing you. Why do you think we graced you with our presence?
He does the classic. He turns back to...
I get it.
Did somebody say something?
he turns back to you, Bartleby, without saying a word. So tell me, Churchman, what do you actually know about Dream Stalkers? Fill me with your wisdom. Amaze me by your intellect. Shower me with facts.
I think that they use elements of your real life to torment you. The stories we've heard are different. Not everybody had the same dream, and it seems to be tailored. I assume it might be lethal eventually, or at least evil, like a spiritual vampire of sorts.
Well, while you're doing this, he's picked up his pipe and he's slowly puffing on it. And you can see the embers glowing every time he sort of like sucks in on it. And once you finish talking, he takes it out of his mouth and he just goes like this. And this rich tobacco smoke just comes straight towards you, Bartleby. And this sort of like, you sort of like, you know. And he says, I would like to tell you a story, Mr. Bartleby. Whether or not this is a true story or a story of fictitious moments in time, that is for you to consider. And I will tell you this since you brought me a paperweight of a trinket, but please, next time, no more paperweights.
Noted. I would love to hear this story.
And gold would have a much better adjectives and storyline, if you get my meaning.
I do.
He says, take a seat.
I'll find a seat somewhere.
There isn't one.
Then I won't find a seat.
And he says, so if you prefer to stand, then I understand. And he sort of like says, in my younger days, and he sort of like gives a sideways glance at Cyrus, but not when I was a child in either age or stature. You might be
A few centuries ago.
You might be aware that I was somewhat of a, shall I say, adventurer. And this is where the story emanates from. While we were travelling through the most dangerous and threatening countryside that we had ever encountered, we came across a town, a very friendly town, a small village, a few houses, farmsteads, a very nice place. We took shelter there and had ale and some cold mutton. It was average to at best. And we left them. And as we left, somebody did mention about having nightmares. It was our misfortune to approach the town once more after we had defeated the hideous beast that we had been sent to kill. And on the way back, the village was not as we had left it. It would appear that the people had been driven mad. They had butchered each other, torn each other's eyes out. The whole place was, shall we say, a bit of a butcher's workbench. There was very many old and young killed, but they had all died with a certain look on their face, eyes wide open, staring, mouths frozen in a deathly scream, skin as pale and clammy and dry as you could ever imagine, empty husks of their former selves. And we could feel it. We didn't stay there the night, for as we approached back, we felt something tugging at our emotions, feeding of it, trying to influence us, trying to stir those urges of passion or fear, the extremes emotions that we surface, only allowed to surface in those desperate times, those emotions that we remain suppressed. But it could bring them to the forefront, for after years of studying, and from a friend of mine who sadly died shortly after I had retrieved the information. Of course, I cannot be connected to the death at all. I did find out something about the Dream Stalkers. They are created, they are summoned, they are magical, but not the magic of the sorcerers. The magic that they use is even deeper and more dangerous than the black-robed sorcerers, for they have the most power, as we are aware. And he has a glance at Cyrus and then back to the story. You see, somebody in that village must have annoyed them or caused them harm, or somehow maybe even looked at them an inappropriate way. For Dream Stalkers are summoned. They are summoned to wreak revenge on a person for things they have done in the past. Unfortunately, the Dream Stalker is not fussy who it takes, either first or last. It grows on those emotions, those extremes of emotions. It absorbs them, and as it absorbs, it seeks further emotions and gains more power to influence more and more people. It is a very, very hideous death. And eventually, it will find the person it is seeking, and it will drain that person of all emotions, feeding off its life force. And unfortunately, it will not be concerned about who or what it takes in the process. Yes, the Dream Stalker is out for revenge, churchmen. And it would appear that you may be somehow tied up with this revenge. There's a pause, and he says, You may go now. Thank you for your trinket.
Thank you for your answers. That was enlightening.
And
And yes, we shall be off.
yes, I know.
As I lost my headphones earlier, did he know I was hidden in the corner?
No, he didn't see you. He actually got an 84 on his perception roll.
Brilliant. In which case, he will suddenly see a pouch of
Gold.
silver, 95 silver, be thrown from a darkened corner onto his desk.
Nice. Roll your unarmed combat roll.
Unarmed.
Yeah, I just want to see whether or not it
That's
hits
all
the
right,
desk. I just think it'd be. It's a little bit. I would normally let you use your combat skill, but it's not the same as hefty.
Then throw a spear through it.
So yeah, just roll your unarmed combat.
Oh God, snakes preserve us. Yeah, I'd like you to point a look because this is kind of like.
Now, before you roll it, can I say that you don't want it higher than 87? I just want to go on record now. Do not get it more than 87.
Yeah, that's we'll see. I actually want it 34. I'd like a 34, please. 34 now.
Oh.
Yeah. No.
So it lands on the table, and it lands fairly on the table. The only problem is it hits his port glass.
Oh no!
Which topples over, and he sort of like looks up at you, Bartleby, and just says, "Churchman, you are so clumsy. Next time warn me before you chuck something. There is much nicer way of doing transaction, but thank you for the coinage and this lovely paperweight. Oh,
yeah,
buy
you're
one more
welcome.
thing, Mr. Churchman. Just one more thing.
Yes?
They like to lurk in dark places. The darker the place, the better. And you asked whether or not I had any dreams last night, I believe. You asked that, yes?
I did. Yeah.
And he says, well, of course I did not. And it is down to, and he goes over to one side, and he opens a drawer and he brings something out and says, this. And it seems to be a tiny vial, stoppered. It's made out of glass. It seems to contain some kind of liquid some kind of powder in it. And he sort of like just shows it to you. And then it looks very much like dirty sand. That's what it looks like. So it's about the consistency of sand, but rather than being yellow or golden, it seems to be more to like deep brown, maybe even black in places. There are speckles of black in it. And he says, I would swear by this. You might want to get yourself some if you wish to have, shall we say, sweet dreams. And then he sort of like puts it back in his drawer, and he sort of like picks up his scribe and he starts his quill and starts to, and then he says, sorry, are you still here?
Sorry, my internet might have cut out a little bit. Did he say what the dark brownish with black speckle stuff was?
No, he just said that you should get some of this if you are expecting to have some sweet dreams. And then he started to write again, and then all of a sudden he said, sorry, are you still here?
Yeah, I just was curious what that was that you just showed me.
And all you hear is...
Very informative. Can't wait to see you next time, probably at your funeral next week. Have a good rest of your shitty day. And I'll start leaving.
As you go, Cyrus, can you just please make for me a willpower check?
Yeah.
Nice. Do you
I
wish...
will like it.
And roll it again.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Can't be 100.
Don't you dare.
Okay. You sort of like feel quite pleased with yourself and leave. the shop.
Bartleby will leave as well, not overstaying his welcome.
Is Hasra sneaking out as well?
No,
Sorry,
Hasra
poor
is sneaking
Hasra.
out.
Poor Hasra.
He wants to see if the side of this bottle says NyQuil on it. No. Yeah, Hasra can't read in any case, so it might No,
do.
yeah, Hasra will just.
I have to now go
in
back.
between people.
I now have to go back and read the chat to see what people has been. Bartleby's rep has been bashed a bit recently. First, people are laughing at him for not being a true priest, and now he's titled the church person.
Well, that's just a logo one person gives him because Bartleby is a people's preacher.
I don't mind being called church person. That's better than a lot of names he could come up with.
Yeah, I'm sure he can. I'm just reading what. Oh yeah, I'm not reading everything that they put out because some of them they're discussing the plot line. So, but yeah.
Possible spoilers.
Okay then, so we're coming to halfway point, so 10 minutes coming up shortly. What would you like to do after the break? Is there anything?
I have a suggestion for the group, and you guys can question me on this. We need more answers, so I feel we need another library, but it'd be nice to be able to ask our alchemist maybe friend for some answers on what that powder was. And maybe it could be a case of, like, Cyrus, you might want to go to your library at the Order.
Do you know,
Yes, I second that idea, Bartleby.
Oh, really?
And then
I actually have a document on my World Anvil that says people that Cyrus hates.
It'd
just
be a
the
lot
NPC
shorter
list?
It'd be better just to do a list of people he doesn't hate.
Well,
It'd be a lot easier for you.
and then I've got an even longer list of people who hate Cyrus. Just go,
no.
and I'm not.
And Cyrus is on that list.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that any of the party members are on that list at this point.
At this point, here's the thing though: the only reason why it's a longer list is because Cyrus forgot the people he's hate.
Yeah, or hasn't met them
Small
yet.
difference.
He just sort of like ignored them. Okay, so that would be a good role, good activity. So Cyrus could go to his Red Order, and you probably have a passion Order of the Red.
Yeah, let me.
Just make sure you got it. You don't need to roll it yet. But
Order of
that's
the Phoenix. It's
yeah.
passion.
But that's what you will roll for your library use. Do you have literacy at all?
Actually, instead of library use, I'd probably go to my mentor.
Oh,
Talk to him.
yes. What's your mentor's name?
Bob.
Phyllis?
His
Old
real
man.
name, not the one that you told, made
Oh.
up for him.
I forgot. I'm gonna be honest. I wrote it down before, but I don't know where my notes are.
Different house.
So
It's exactly a different. Oh, actually, hold on, it might be here.
we'll do that after the break. Let's do that after the break, and then other people can go to Annalin and have a chat with Annalin, and then we can go from there. So that seems a good point to. Did Hasra? Sorry, yeah.
I'd like to go to the my
Brotherhood.
chapter, Brotherhood,
Yeah.
and see if they know anything about these dream
Yeah,
Stalker
stalkers.
capture
Yeah.
stalkers. Yes.
Okay, and is Hengist going with Bartleby?
Hengist will go with whoever Hengist is asked to go with. He doesn't mind.
I want you to come with me.
Oh,
Got in there first, Bartleby. Hengist is happy to go with Bartleby.
how sweet. Okay, oh no, he's drunk his mentor's name away.
Thank you. That was a waste of time.
I'm just imagine Cyrus going down a series of doors with people's names on, going, no, No.
He's probably
I remember.
just
All I
gone-
remember is that he was like at the bottom of like a giant staircase.
So Cyrus has probably gone to the very top
Word.
and gone, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
That
This
was
is
a
my
mistake.
new mentor, and just walks in the biggest, grandest office.
Okay, so let's take our break there as I move you back away from Sylvester McCoon. And yeah, we will take
Very
a
nice.
quick 10-minute break and then we'll be back. So we'll be back at 42. So coming up to about 1:45, that's when we'll be back. So go away, stretch your legs, grab something to eat, and we will be back in 10. Let me just go to be right back.
Wine even.
Yeah.
Does that mean you don't get drunk or take the calories?
Yes. Both.
Okay, we are back. We are back with suitable beverages, and I've got some toast as well. Now then, before we separate out, Cyrus, I would like you to make an insight roll for me, please.
Ooh. Am I gonna
Another
be insightful
insight
today?
roll. Not a
I'm
dwarf.
insightful. Oh no.
On this day in 1922,
I think as you
Cyrus, like-
leave,
It's just like something like clicks.
yeah, as you leave.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of like look behind you and you see Sylvester there, and as you sort of like have a quick look back, he seems to do this to you. He sort of like goes as if to acknowledge, almost like a battle well fought.
Yeah. I'll nod my head back to him too.
It's almost as if you get this feeling that while Bartleby goes through it as like, oh, my great Sylvester, here's all this thing to get what he wants. He seems to, you get this feeling that he almost like acknowledges you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sort of like goes, you know.
He
loves a
acknowledges the
challenge.
approach. He likes the approach different. He likes the combative approach rather than the, ass kissing approach.
Or
Mr.
what Hasra said.
Or that too.
Mm.
All right.
So, Cyrus, who are you going to see?
I'm gonna go to the Order
Yep.
of the Phoenix, and I'm going to go down to where my mentor, where I last saw him. That was not in the bar.
And his name being?
Old man.
Just so you know, his name's Goshawk. And you...
Actually, look. But I didn't write it down, but it's right. I did write down. It's just I didn't put down mentor, so I was like,
There, yeah.
see.
I saw
was somewhat
Excuses,
prepared.
excuses.
we saw you all frantically writing it down. So
Right now.
I said, yeah, look, I had it. Cyrus, can you just make for me a perception roll?
Ooh, all these are going to turn out bad. All right, I only got so much luck in a day. I don't want to luck it. I only got one more luck point. So
Okay, so you sort of like go down the corridor, and do you knock or walk in?
I'm gonna walk in.
Yeah, and you sort of like walk in, and what you suddenly see before you is a little bit disconcerting, because it would appear that Goshawk, your mentor, is having a chat with Melanie. Now, I don't know if you remember Melanie.
I remember Melanie.
And if you'd reached your perception, got your perception check, you would have heard the conversation before you went in. But now you just hear the end of it. And it does rather seem like Melanie was telling Goshawk off. about something. He sat down and she sort of like stood up, and you sort of like come out, and her head whips around and says, she shouts at you, says, "Do never knock."
Why would I? So what are you doing down here? It seems like this is such a low point for you to be down, and so low in our order.
And she sort of like leans closer to Goshawk and says, "Be
Someone
warned.
been demoted?
Be warned. We know what you are up to, Goshawk, and we do not want this to end in the way that we would not like it to end." And she sort of like does a flurry of robes and auburn hair, and she sort of like walks past you and just sort of like smiles, but not a nice smile. It is a devious smile, and she just says, "Cyrus," and walks out and slams the door behind her. And you hear Goshawk's heart go, "Whew."
So what's she telling you off about, old man?
"Cyrus, what do you want?"
Well,
I figure you want
from
one
what
of
I
two.
remember,
I figure you.
from what? Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I figure you want one of two things: A, to make fun of me, or B, to ask for money.
Money's not always a terrible idea.
Well, go for it then. Make fun. Call
No,
me
all right.
old man. Call me pigeon face. Whatever possible insults you can throw at me. But please do remember, Cyrus, my dear friend and initiate, who will be recommending you for further progression.
I don't want to waste any more time than we obviously do not have enough left anyways, from the look at you. But
He just goes,
I've actually come down for advice.
"Advice?"
As a mentor, yeah. I've actually come down because from what I understand, you were hired to mentor
Sorry,
me.
just let me stop
I don't know
here.
if I've seen you in 2 weeks.
Cyrus, the worldly mage, the person who knows everything, who is going to be rising up the ranks, wants advice from an old man like me.
Yeah, because obviously I don't have time to read every textbook ever, and obviously you've had every, fucking second to read every textbook ever, obviously based on your age.
Cyrus, cut to the chase.
Alright. Look, I'm assuming you, like everyone else in this town, had a weird night last night, right?
Well, if you call the people who I shared my bed with last night weird, then maybe, yes, to be quite blunt, I do not.
That's an image I want to
I
live
do not
out of my
remember
eyes.
much of it at all. Who would have thought her mother would be quite adept?
Jesus. I'm sorry. You wouldn't say Jesus. Heavens. All right. All right. The town, from what I'm understanding, and what my compatriots have also
Your
figured out,
underlings.
there's
I think you called them your underlings at one point, I seem to remember.
that seems to fit the bill. We feel like there's a Night Stalker that's slowly diminishing the psyches of the townspeople, including myself and my underlings.
Now, you know, Cyrus, if you had mentioned the words Dream Stalker instead of Night Stalker, which I think is some kind of fictional super person that dances around, teleporting all over the place, then I might have been able to help you.
All right, Dream Stalker. Sorry, I bet. Dream
Write
Stalker.
it down.
Yeah,
Dream Stalker.
Dream, and that's with an E. In the name? All right. I'm writing with a Sharpie, so everyone knows.
On your hand, Dream.
Yeah. Dream Stalker.
And on the other hand, it says Goshawk.
Goshawk Dream. There's gonna be like next week. It's gonna be a Memento situation. Like Goshawk Dream.
Yes.
I watched some guy named Goshawk.
He says, Cyrus, get on with it. As you have quite rightly pointed out, I have very few years left on this earth, and I do not particularly want to spend it with you. No offence.
It's a mutual feeling. What do you know about Dream Stalkers?
They are some fictitious creature that is meant to haunt people's dreams. What do you know about them?
They apparently aren't as fictitious as we believe. And, I've ran into many things in my travels that were thought to be fictitious. So
He looks puzzled, and then he's going...
Do you need me to get the nurse to change you?
No. I was just wondering whether or not I could smell the strong alcohol on your breath.
Honestly,
Or is it
there's gonna
something
be
a
more
little
alcohol
bit...
in my breath.
Is it something a little bit more narcotic that you're into these days?
If it gets me through this conversation, I'll take whatever you got.
Oh, please. Bear us and just leave now.
All right. I'm trying to be serious, Goshawk. Think
Sorry.
outside the fictional aspect of things.
I prefer to be called Mental Goshawk.
Mentor Gashawk.
Oh. Your monthly review is going to be so interesting to write, Signet.
Yes. Anyways.
Serious Cyrus.
Think outside of the fictitious aspect of these creatures. What do you know besides what they can do? Like, do you know roughly where they like to hide? Are they?
Oh, yes.
They look like other humanoids.
Correct. Correct. I am privy to the information where all Dream Stalkers in the whole world, if they were not fictitious, would actually be lurking. I think, and he starts to rummage through his paper.
No, I'm talking like on a.
He says,
like
"I'm
a
sure
habitat situation.
I have a map here that shows all the location of the dream." Of course, I do not, Cyrus. Good grief! I sometimes wonder, Cyrus, whether or not your other brain cell gets lonely.
That's pretty good. All right. So you're not going to be helpful at all in this situation?
I have been helpful. I have, quite frankly, Signet, I have some rather pressing matters to attend to, i.e. the person who just left, who actually would like your balls delivered to her on a plate, preferably pickled.
Look, I don't care how Mel's appreciation of my testicles. I don't care.
Well, Mr. Cyrus,
Mr.
Cyrus, I suggest you become very much aware of it. For that woman actually is controlling a significant part of the order, and before long I can see her going from rags to riches rather quickly, and I'm afraid she is not bothered who she will stand on. And believe me, she is willing to stand on certain people a lot more than other people.
What's your problem with her?
I have no problem with her. She
has a problem with you.
Yes, because I am your mentor.
So it's not your fault. You were
Cyrus, she wants me to fail you, so you are kicked out or removed from the order.
She seems threatened by me, obviously.
I don't think you just heard what I said. If you are removed from the order, Cyrus, you will be forbidden to cast magic.
Yeah.
She is harbouring some resentment, I do not know how far down it goes. As far as I'm aware, you have barely spoken to her since she arrived at the Order. But she definitely seems to want your, well, yes, preferably pickled. Cyrus, the library is available to you. Please use what small percentage of your scholarly activity you can possess and go and read. And while you are reading, think very carefully about your own position in this order. Melanie has some very powerful friends. And believe me, I do not want to be kicked out shortly after yourself. And if it means that I have to fail you in order to keep my position, then believe me, I will stoop that low.
I appreciate the warning.
Cyrus, take the warning. She is after you, and not in an amorous way.
All right. Well,
The library's on the second floor. I suggest you start on the second shelf, 2 books in.
appreciate it.
That's where the
I'll see you
D.
next time.
That's where the D's start.
All right. I'll start heading up to the second floor.
Yeah. Well, there's some really important facts coming your way, Cyrus, that I'm hoping you're writing down or something.
I'm nervous about this aspect.
You use your feet if you have to.
24, are you ready?
So, roll your Order of the Phoenix skill. Do you have a literacy skill?
Does Cyrus have a literacy skill?
It will be a skill that is a professional skill that you have written down and will have if you can read. If you cannot read, then you're looking at pictures.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with picture books.
Yeah.
No, and Hengist likes to colour them as well.
They
That's
get
a
all
professional
within
skill.
the lines.
Yeah, the only professional skills I have. Maybe I can convince you on Lore War Council.
So, let me get... So, right, okay then.
Captain, roll an influence check.
And my skills... My skill's 197. So you're taking that. Okay then. So what's going to happen here? Normally you would be able to augment your Order of the Phoenix roll with your literacy roll, and then that would actually help you because you'll be able to read faster, read in more detail. You don't have that, so the actual skill or the skill difficulty of finding this information is going to naturally increase. So off you go. Roll away.
Roll what? Order of Phoenix?
Yeah.
All right.
Oh no.
Dude, you can do it.
I'm using my luck. I'm using my one last luck of the night.
And
Oh my goodness. You can do it. You can do it!
I feel Hasra should have some pom-poms at this.
Hey, Cyrus, you're so fine. You're so fine you can read Sublime.
Right, okay then. So you start looking through the books. You're flicking through and you are literally looking at the pictures. And there is an interesting picture that you find. And it's a picture that sort of like links 2 pieces of information together. The picture is sort of like one element is superimposed on the other element. And the first element, there's somebody lying in a bed, mouth open wide, eyes open wide, very much like Sylvester had spoken about. And there's sort of like a speech bubble or blur above their head where they're being attacked by hideous monsters and torn apart, all captured in a wonderful, colourful rendition of the dream. And over to one side, there seems to be what can only be described as some slug-like creature. maybe more amoeba-like, but it sort of like has form. But you also notice that each side or each part is actually made up of 2 eyes and a mouth that is screaming, and the whole picture of this blob, this giant slug, seems to just be eyes and mouths screaming. And they're different people. Some of them are small children, some of them are old people, and you can see that. And this is the picture that you find that sort of like answers your question, what does it look like? Yeah. And that's what you find, and you'll be there for the rest of the day, seeking.
I do have a question before.
Yeah, go for it.
Am I able to take books with me?
Okay, so technically you are not allowed to take things from the library because it is protected information, i.e. the sorcerers, they're a bit like harbingers of knowledge. They want to harbour it. So taking books out of the library is frowned upon. If you do wish to try to get it out, then you have a skill roll called Conceal.
I'll work on that. I'll wonder if I should do that or not.
Okay.
Go ahead and switch to someone else.
Let's go. He's just looking at his Conceal roll, which I can't imagine is very high at all.
It's all right.
Right. It would be a punishable offence.
Yeah.
And you do sort of like
apparently I'm already on some streams as it is.
Pickled onions. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Hasra, you are at your Brotherhood. Is there anybody that you would like to see, that you would like to ask to see? What would you like to do while you're there?
Hasra, being very regimental in a sense, would go to the lowest person first and walks in there and say, I need to talk to somebody about this dream catcher.
Yeah, and it seems to be a sort of like a young teenage girl who's obviously some kind of apprentice, and she's sort of like, she seems to be walking around with what seems to be some kind of box, and she seems to be on a mission, and you sort of like stop her and talk to her, and she says, "You want to talk to somebody about what, sir?"
I'd like to talk to maybe my master about a dream catcher.
Sorry, sir. Can you say that a little bit slower? I do not understand the language that you are speaking.
My apologies, my girl. I'm from the north of Odessa. The northern steppes, have you possibly been there? It's beautiful. In summer, the sun glistens off the plains. It's beautiful. But I would like to speak to the master about...
Yes, sir. Yes. Catchers. I agree, sir. Did you say master?
Yes, I'll just speak to the master, please.
I will see whether or not he's around. Who shall I say wants to see him?
It's a Hasra.
Say again, sorry?
Hasra.
You're breaking up. Okay, yes. I will go now. And she goes skipping off. And you're sort of like stood there for some time. And one of the older members comes in that you have seen before and maybe had been around the fire once or twice when the medicinal herbs were being smoked. And he sort of like sees you and says, "Oh, Hasra, how can I help you? Are you here for something?"
Yes, my friend, I'm here because I need to speak to the master about last night in Lindowe. The whole city.
Yes,
dreams about and my friend Bartleby seems to think it's a dream catcher.
Yeah,
anything about the dream catcher?
Yes, the master is currently unavailable. He is taking his medicine. But do come into my office. I'm sure we'll be able to find something about a dream catcher. And he sort of like takes you to his room that seems to be packed full of different books, and different books are piled up on the table. And he says, "I am one of the few members of the Brotherhood who can actually read. It's quite a rare skill among us Brotherhoods. Most of us just sense information. Yes, dream catcher.
Yes, my friend, it's amazing. I mean, I can read, but I can read trail
Is
signs.
that a
Beautiful.
flora or fauna?
A dream catcher? No, it's a being.
So a fauna then, and he's
No,
sort of
being a human, like a person who can
a
go
person.
inside your mind and your dreams and
Oh,
stretch things out.
Mr. Hasra, we don't deal with people. To be honest with you,
I know, but they destroy whole towns. There are towns in this world that Mr. Bartleby says have been torn apart by these things that have been destroyed because they go into a town and they go into people's dreams and they scare them and people die and they run away and the towns are destroyed. Get to the chopper. Sorry.
He looks more and more. No, it's an esoteric item. It's gone from. It's now a dream catcher. It's just slowly morphing. I spent hours trying to make up these names, and you just make them up as you go.
I know. I tell you what. Ben Affleck was a bomb in Dream.
Yeah, at least you got Dream right, which is better than what Cyrus got right.
But yeah, he's trying to. Hasra is trying to put across that it's not some natural or herbal or whatever. It's an entity that he's trying to. That controls people's dreams, because that's what he's been told.
Oh, so and then this guy who you don't know his name yet.
No.
But I have one prepared if you are.
I will be.
He sort of like says to you, "Oh, a spirit! It's a spirit." Oh yes.
Yes, possibly could be spirit.
And yes, okay then. So a spirit. And he says, nasty business spirits. Sounds a bit like a Bane spirit to me.
Mm. And Hasra will nod, sort of like that kind of general, I don't know the hell you're talking about, but yes.
Yeah, so a Bane spirit is something that lurks in various situations, normally has been discommunicated from their corporeal body and has been almost like abandoned on this side of the world. They cannot actually progress and to be recycled or reincarnated, and they are trapped here in pure, well, I can only say they're pretty miffed, and they just want to cause, shall we say, nastiness. Quite vile they are.
It just sounds very, very familiar.
Yes, I once had to go against a Bane spirit. Yes. Of course.
Did you have strange dreams before you went against him?
Well, I did, but I think that might have been some mouldy cheese that I ate the night before. It was quite a quite a forceful battle.
Let me tell you of our night last night. We peacefully went to sleep in our own separate abodes, but during the night, we had a strange dream where we all conversed on the street of the inn that we are trying to help.
So
And
last night you had a strangest dream?
Yes, we did. And it was we fought against Christoph, who seemed to manifest himself as this strange, terrible creature, tore my leg apart and destroyed Hengist and hurt Bartleby, and then Cyrus was left alone, and this creature destroyed all of us. No matter how powerful we were, he always found a way to circumvent what we could do.
Oh, it's
Big word.
It sounds very much. So last night you had a strangest dream. you dreamed you sailed away to China, was it? Did you say?
No, China's not around this place. Oh, there's.
What is that song?
I dreamed a dream.
No, last night I had the strangest dream. I sailed away to China in a little rowboat to find you and said you had to get the laundry clean.
That's what the Dreamcatcher sang. And
Matthew Wilder. Nothing gonna break my stride. Gonna slow me down. Oh no, I got to keep on moving.
Oh my God, that bit I got then. Oh
Yeah.
no. It's in my head.
Yeah,
And
earworm.
Will seemed to somehow memorize the entire, like, all the lyrics. He figured out the song.
Yeah.
I had a very isolated teenage life.
I guess. You knew the entire lyrics, but didn't know what the song was.
I read the basic D&D book, the red one, from cover to cover several times. And the whole of the Caves of Chaos. So, Hasra, this guy, who you still haven't asked his name, actually...
You still, my friend, what is your name?
No, I'm not going to tell you now. The moment's gone. He seems to be telling you, he seems to be less about a creature, but more about a spirit. Maybe something that has been detached by a forceful nature. Maybe that somebody was murdered or something was killed out of revenge or something like that. This
Lady Harmony.
well, this almost like goes against what Sylvester was talking about, because he mentioned that it was summoned and by magic even darker than black-robed magicians or sorcerers. So there seems to be almost like a conflict of ideas here. You are a lot more happy with the spirit idea, although you probably, Hasra, I get a feeling, probably fears the sorcerer element of it.
Yes, definitely. The fact that definitely. I would be happier with the Brotherhood's spirit side of things, because you can come to terms with the fact that everyone has a spirit. A spirit goes somewhere. If you can't go somewhere, it would seek you to go somewhere.
Yeah, and so that you're edging towards that belief rather than any other thing. The only thing that worries you about it is that the person is talking about it as if it's almost like, seems as if it's a regular occasion that it happens, and
common knowledge comes every day.
Yeah, and that doesn't seem to relate or compare to what's actually happening.
No,
if anything, the Bane spirit seems quite
placid, more childlike in a sense.
Yeah, maybe even less threatening.
Yeah.
But everybody, all four of you, are still getting. If you close your eyes, you're still experiencing the emotion of that fight. It's not necessarily.
We all died.
Yeah. And
it's now ingrained in our being.
Yeah, and what happened, just to be aware that you thought you were going to die and then you woke up.
No, well, in Hasra's eyes, he died.
Yeah, and if you remember, Cyrus, the guy pulled back and went for your throat, and then you woke up. And there is, all of you know the superstition that if you actually die in your sleep, as you dream, you die in real life as well. And you could actually see, Hasra, that could actually link your spirit belief, to that. There seems to be some commonality between the two stories. But it's basically, as Hasra is much more naturalistic about things, and rather than high magic, you are happier relating to this. The guy also offers you whether or not you would like to partake in any food, etc.
He will. Yeah.
He points to a brazier. A brazier.
Hasra will look at this guy and say, sorry, my friend, I did not know your name.
Well, my name is Periwinkle.
Periwinkle.
Perry.
I've not seen you.
Periwinkle. Not.
Yeah, Periwinkle.
Yeah.
I've not seen you here before.
I've been here. I'm mostly kept up in this room with my books. I am one of the rare people who can actually read in the Brotherhood.
I remember you mentioned this before. Maybe it's something I should look at. I mean, I know trail signs and things.
I am not a great sorcerer. I'm not the greatest of all sorcerers who can actually read the written word.
You're actually a sorcerer?
No, I'm not like one. I'm very similar to the great sorcerers who can read. I mean, it is rumoured that no sorcerer can be powerful if they cannot read the written word.
Well, that much is true. A sorcerer's line is through written words.
Exactly.
Written words because I don't know the
We are reading. We are talking from the same book.
We are.
And he
Perhaps
pauses
maybe you
as
should
if
tell
there
me.
should be a laugh there.
But there is not. The main line king is ignoring us.
I can throw something on the embers if you wish.
Maybe. But could you please tell me where the master is at the moment, the Grand Master? Because
Yes.
I need to speak to him personally
He is.
about something else.
He is on his spirit journey.
Is he? Is he in the yurt?
He will be some time before he comes down from his spirit journey.
Oh, I understand, my friend. Sorry. Yes. Yes. I do remember this picture. Okay, but thank you very much, my friend.
Yes.
I will speak to you soon.
Goodbye,
about
Hasra.
these things. No, good. Thank you for you, Periwinkle.
My pleasure. And we'll move across to... Sorry, go for it.
The pleasure is all yours.
Yeah, completely. Let's talk about Annalin. And
Yes.
you actually make some inquiries. He's actually not at his shop when Hengist and Bartleby goes to the shop. The shop, you have to admit, looks a lot better than what it did the first time you saw it. It is really well stocked. The window dressing is absolutely fantastic. There's ornate glass vials on show with lovely, well embroidered doilies or placemats all over the place, and it looks incredibly keen. And over the door there's it says, "Ask for aid from Annalin," like this, with all the A's lined up, and it looks like it's newly painted. And there's a little sign on it that is written Hengist. It looks like scrolls, scribbles over it. But Bartleby, you can see that it says "back in 10 minutes," or the equivalent. And
Read this out loud for Hengist, but not like directly saying it at him.
yeah, and you sort of like carry on. You wait around, and he doesn't appear, and you decide just to get a quick drink. And when you get to the hairy hobgoblin, you enter it, and the first thing that you notice that it is completely jam-packed tight and bustling. There's loads of people there, all of lower status. Bartleby, you know, what you could do with these people would be unlimited. You know, absolutely fantastic. And you sort of like come in, and everything sort of like is lively. There's ale flowing, everybody's laughing, there's a blazing fire going in the corner, and you can see that it's a sort of like people are drinking, having fun. And you see Bartleby, you see some of your guard friends in there, and you sort of like see, and then you notice that over in a corner, Annalin is holding court. And he's actually sat at his usual table, which is the one slightly down from yours. And he's sort of like talking to people and handing out remedies from his, almost like his solid goodie bag that he opens up and takes out vials and mixes powders from it.
Well, I assume if he's working with somebody, we'll wait in line if we have to respectfully approach him.
Yeah, and he sort of like he did. You sort of like as your line sort of like goes down. The woman in front of you, he says, and apply that liberally. That means lots of it. Just smear it over and he gazes at the infected area. And don't worry, you'll be as clean as a whistle in no time. And she goes, oh, thank you, Annalin. God knows what I will be doing without you. He says, well, there is a charge. Oh, yes, here I have saved up these silver pieces all week just for this ointment. And he says, oh, thank you. And just takes them all. He says, next, please. And he looks up and sees you. And he sort of goes... He gets taken back and he's sort of like looking around the place and he's sort of like scanning around as if to try to find someone.
It's okay, Annalin. We didn't bring him with us this time.
Oh, heaven forbid. I nearly had a heart attack. He says, oh, such a... He's such... Oh, yes. You know, he...
Yes,
he did actually physically assault me.
Yes, and we're working on getting him to see things from your perspective. It's we were just going to get a drink, and I'm absolutely thrilled and surprised to see that you're back here.
And he sort of like looks behind you and says, sorry people, the shop of Annalin is closed for the next hour. So they go, oh no, please bring back all your ailments, warts and all in a couple of hours, where I will be happy to open my bag of ointments and elixirs and let you freely buy stuff. And they go, go have a drink or something. Sorry about that. Business today. Oh, good grief, it's absolutely amazing. Do have a seat. Basil? And that sound like Faulty Towers. Basil? And Basil comes along and he sort of like says, Basil, that port you had... Oh, the rare one in the dusty... Yes, Basil, that one. And please bring it in three of your best small glasses. I don't want to waste it all on these customers. And he sort of like comes back and he sort of like puts a generous tipple in your two glasses and fills his up to the top. And he says, how are you both? You're looking a little bit...
Well, thank you.
You're looking a little bit tired. Did you sleep well last night?
Well, indeed we didn't. And that does relate to why we're so excited to see you here today. I had a question about, your skill set, some alchemy, I think.
Hasra has put in the chat, does he have an ointment for Cyrus phobia? Yeah, sorry, did you, I had a what, sorry?
I was hoping you might help identify something that Hengist and I saw. It was like a powder that was brown with black speckles in it. It was sort of very dark and earthy. And it was suggested
a good sleep.
Was it soil?
It looked like soil, but the
there
person
you are, then.
was ingesting it.
Oh, brilliant!
The person was ingesting it though to sleep well.
He was eating soil?
It looked like soil, and I thought, with all of your knowledge, you might know.
It wasn't soil. Sorry, I thought we had ascertained that it was soil.
No, I don't think it was soil.
So it's not soil, but it was brown and earthy.
No, he soiled himself because he's so old.
Sounds like soil to me.
Is there anything that would look like soil, but would have alchemical powers or properties that might not fit soil? Or
oh, I see. It had special properties.
Yes.
Well, there is something I swear by. And that looks... And he sort of like opens his bag and he sort of like rummages around and he brings out a little vial. And it's very similar to the one that Sylvester had. And he says, I swear by this. He says, really good stuff.
What is it?
Oh, it causes you to sleep. It's like a sleeping draught. Well, you have to mix it with your favorite drink and then, pop it in and then that's it. out for the night.
How much does it cost?
Would you like some, Mr. Bartleby?
Bartleby's just considering what those last lines might imply. And this is, yes. I think it would be best for our cause here if we purchase some. How much in silver
Well-
This will get his purse out.
Well, to be honest
And
with
put his
you,
hand on Bartleby, so Bartleby's not paying.
there has
Bartleby
been
goes to get the purse out.
there has been quite a high demand for this recently. So as you can imagine, I am having to elevate my prices somewhat. I hope you understand.
Of course, you're doing business. You're a businessman.
And the ingredients are quite rare.
What
Sure.
is your price, alchemist?
Oh, please call me Annalin. We are surely on first name terms here, Mr. Hengist.
What is your price, Annalin?
Well, my price. So first, let me just tell you that it is made up of bat droppings and, well, sleep dust.
What is sleep dust?
I know. I thought it was quite clever myself. Well, he sort of like looks around and he sort of like comes really close to you, Bartleby, and says, "It's sand, but I call it sleep dust. You know, like the Sandman. Sleep dust. But it allows me to elevate the price somewhat. If I said it was common and garden rabbit poo and sand, then I don't think I would be able to get the price that I'm asking for. But for you gentlemen, I am willing to sell you this as a very bargain price."
Sandman, give me a dream.
Make it the cutest that I've ever seen. Back to the Future. When he's just gone back in time, he sees that. I'm quite happy to actually sell it to you at a bargain price.
This is going to help protect Lindowe from evil.
Well, it would make you sleep without any dreams if that's what you are hoping for.
Well, in a sense, that might be exactly what we need. Have you been having any bad dreams?
Oh, no, heavens no. I use a bit of this every single night. My dreams have been rosy, full of unicorns, and, well, yes, very quiet.
That is very good information to have. A price on this file? You said you had.
Oh yes. Well, let's have a bit of a. Oh yes. So let's have a bartering session here, which is always fun. Okay then. So you can either make a custom roll or a culture roll. It's completely up to you.
Customs is my choice here.
Okay. So off you go. Roll away.
Big power.
Right. So that is. Oh, that hasn't. Are you going to look it?
I'm trying to remember the other parts. Thinking of
so
how much luck I have.
So your customs gives you the difficulty of your next roll. So, for example, it goes critical, success, failure, fumble. So at the moment you've got a failure, which means that your next roll, which would be commerce, it is actually at a standard roll. Okay, if it was a success, okay, this roll, then your commerce bonus would be an easy roll.
I'm gonna luck it then.
Okay.
Brings me down to 1 luck left.
Okay, so you roll your commerce and you're looking for an easy roll. Just 1 second before you do that. Let me just roll Annalin's. Annalin gets a 7, which means it's a critical. So his commerce bonus is very easy. Okay, when he rolls it. So you're looking at easy, he's looking at very easy.
That sounds about right. He's much better at business
Yeah.
than I am.
Okay, go for it.
Correct. Push it.
Big money.
One off.
Um,
not 81, not 81, 1. I'll look at it again. Don't worry.
So
Do it.
So
Do
just
it.
to let you know, the next roll is judged by the 2 levels of success. So say for example you fail. If I fail, then they'll be equal and you'll get the standard of price. Okay. If you fail but I succeed, that's 1 level difference, and so you will actually have to pay 125% of the price. If there's 2 levels, i.e. you get a fumble or you fail and I get a crit, then it's 150. And if there's 3 lots of differences, then it's 200% of the price. Now remember, my role is very easy. So I have a better chance of critting now with my roll. Just want to put that out there.
Well, you're not going to fail your roll, that's for sure. I'm just thinking, I want to save money, but I don't want to get shanked in the alley. I think
I don't think that's part of the deal.
I don't think Annalin would be able to shank Hengist in the alley.
What's the word shank mean? Can somebody tell me what the word shank?
With a makeshift weapon.
Oh, right.
I'm just thinking
So basically
about
knifed. I don't think Annalin's capable of knifing Hengist.
I want to keep fate on my side.
Or
For
even maybe Bartleby.
Jabby.
Jabby.
Now, Sniffin, on the other hand.
What are you going to do, Mr. Bartleby?
Anyway.
What are you going to do? Are you going to look it or not?
Go, do it. Do it.
And stop trying to last this conversation out to 5 to 10.
Also, remember that you're not actually using your own money.
You're using Hengist's.
That makes me feel guiltier.
But Hengist has a mansion.
I think Bartleby would not want to delve as much into his family skills, as I call commerce here. I think he'd be taken advantage of by Annalin here with the description of the rare ingredients.
Okay.
So I'm not going to luck it.
So yours is a failure then. So here's my roll. My commerce is 86. So my very easy roll, my actual skill level would be 172. So he gets a 94. So he has succeeded, but he hasn't critted it, you'll be pleased to know. So he just has 1 level difference, which means he's going to charge you. It's going to be 125% of the going price.
Makes sense.
Oh, big numbers always hurt my head.
20,000 silver. Base price.
Wait around the corner of this building when he gets back.
Okay, so Hengist, you're going to have to part with 313 silver coins.
Hengist doesn't have 330 silver. He doesn't have that on him. He's probably got about
A lot of
100
weight.
silver. It's a lot of weight.
Could we arrange like
A down payment and then.
Am I missing something?
What's the
This is just
armor?
sand, right? Am I missing
No,
something?
it's magic sand.
Magic sand. That's the key.
Armor.
It's magic
No,
sand.
Magic sand. You sure it's magic sand or just sand that he's saying?
It's magic sand.
Look, I drank a potion.
It's going to neuter Longshanks. Show me
Okay,
the
what,
armor.
Mr. Pickles? You drank a potion?
I drank a potion and a boat saved us. We cannot deny the magic of these potions.
That is true, actually.
Actually, that is very
It did. Yeah,
That is
it did
very
save us.
true.
I drank a boat potion and
Mr.
it
Pickles
happened.
drops the
Oh,
mic.
stop.
With a
With
worm in it. I think there was a worm.
With a worm in it. Yes.
It's always something gross with potions, but they work.
Yeah.
It was tequila, and he enjoyed it.
Yeah. Okay then. So yeah, Annalin's quite happy, and he sort of like says, "Oh yes, I totally understand. We can have a gentleman's business arrangement here. If you give me what you've got, and then pop it back either to the shop or here. Is it safe to carry on trading in here?"
Yes.
We'll
Whilst-
warn
whilst-
you
whilst
if we
we're
have
here.
Cyrus.
Oh, yes.
Hengist, and also at the same time, Hengist just, instead of counting out the pieces, he just closes the purse and hands the whole purse over.
And Annalin sort of like picks it up and sort of like weighs it in his hand. He said, yes, you can bring the rest later. And then he shouts, thank you, gentlemen, and please put in a good word with me with your fiery friend. And then he goes, okay, Mabel, come over now. Right, where is it? Where is it? And I'll see whether or not I can lance it for you now.
Oh, no. No.
I'm surprised at Bartleby. I'm surprised at you, Bartleby.
That's why I make it disappear. I don't like looking at it. It's just, I gotta help you, please. And it was never there. But did he give us the vial?
Yes, you've got it.
Picking up the...
No,
Okay.
you've got the vial that he had in his hand. Cyrus, are you concealing or not?
No.
Right.
I don't want to risk it. I'm out of luck points, and I know I'm
I do know, Hasra. I was thinking exactly the same thing. I'm all out of luck points. I can't wish without you. Just as
we're gonna get sued for copyright infringement.
So you
you
all eventually sort of like gravitate back to the heavy hobgoblin and share information with each other. But as you are walking down the street, the Fable street, something quite...
Uh-oh.
Deja vu.
Uh-oh. We're dead again?
Hang on, I'm just removing all signs of injury and spells.
But they're on repeat for next time.
Yeah, it's almost like a deja vu. Who gave Hengist a lovely little shield?
That was the Aegis shield from...
I did. That was my Aegis shield.
Oh, right. It was actually an arrow pointing down. I didn't know.
No, it wasn't. No, it was a. It was. Cyrus used something. Pierce.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, bypass armor.
Bypass armor.
Yes.
That's the one. Not Pierce. Yeah.
Yeah. So, as you're, do you want to come from north to south or south to north? It's completely up to you.
Joe, let's go how it is, because then that way feels like it's real. I'm going to die again.
Okay,
I wanted to go south and north.
you can arrange yourself how you wish. Hasra moves himself behind.
But you'll laugh. That moves us forward and died.
Hey, what's the weather like right now? What's the weather like?
It's overcast and
No!
and dusk. It's dusk. It's about
with a slight chance of pointy things.
when you Hengist, you cannot be in the sniffling boar.
Hengist is on the roof. No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
Do you know? Do you want to please do a climb roll? Yeah, please do a climb roll. You'll be like a tortoise.
It's fine. What you don't know is Gulliver's hiding on the other side of the roof.
Oh,
holding a teleport spell.
Can I just say this is a wonderful setup to guard Cyrus here.
It is. We are blocking Cyrus, the Uber character of this group.
We're walking into the hairy hobgoblin. We want to keep him out of Annalin's sight.
Okay, so
that's why he's there.
The hairy hobgoblin.
Is he just stood there because I want to walk past going, morning.
Well,
nice day fishing, ain't it?
I'll tell you what. So the purple door is the hairy hobgoblin. Okay, as previously identified, and you're walking down, and you can hear both of the doors of both the sniffling boar and a hairy hobgoblin are open, and there's sounds of joyous drinking and shouting. Chris, the sniffling boar, has its usual cue, and the bouncers on the door, and Christoph sort of like comes to the door, and he sees Hengist and Bartleby sort of like walking down with Hasra and Cyrus, who he's not met formally, but he does know Bartleby and Hengist, and sort of like he smiles at you and he gestures over to the hairy hobgoblin and puts his thumb up like this to you.
Hengist nods and waves.
And he sort of like bows his head as if to say, yeah, he's done it. He doesn't look fatigued or anything like that. He looks quite bouncy and quite normal, and he sort of like bows his head and smiles at you really friendly like, and then moves into the shop. And at that point, Hasra, can you make for me, please, an evade roll?
Oh, crap.
Gonna get shanked. I called it.
There'll be no
Yes,
shanking in the
well,
streets of Lindowe.
Yeah, not in public. Oh my god. Please, 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 please. Please, will you love me? Not. I've got I failed, but I've got an easy.
Are you going to look it and roll it again?
Oh god, no. No. This is like deja vu.
Okay,
No.
so so what happens? That door that is right next to you,
Yeah.
it suddenly bursts open, and something comes out of the room, out of the doorway, screaming and howling. And you don't make your evade roll, so you do actually get out the way, but you actually are knocked to one side, and you're now prone on the ground. And Hengist, you look to the side at this commotion, and everybody can see this person as they come out of the actual room. It seems to be a rather bedraggled woman. She looks quite elderly, but she looks as if she has literally just woken up or something. She seems to be in her night attire, and it's all sort of like damp and clinging to her body, like with sweat, and there's sweat on her hair and on her face, and all her hair's bedraggled and matted. And she has in her hand a butcher's cleaver.
Oh.
And she's waving it backwards and forwards in front of her, heading towards. So, Hasra, you're purely by chance you managed to get out the way as she came out, and this sort of like woman sort of like comes out, and you sort of like sense it or something, and sort of like stagger back, and she sort of like comes out screaming like a mad woman, and she's shouting over and over again. She's waving this butcher's knife around in her head, saying, "Get out of my mind! Get out of my mind!"
Oh my gosh, she's in June.
And she sort of like, she doesn't seem to be attacking anybody, but there is no, if you got in the way of this cleaver, then it would cause you some damage. So let's just, so we see, this shouldn't be a major issue for anybody, but I'm really interested how people deal with it. Okay, then, so roll your initiative for me.
Oh my god.
We're gonna murder this woman.
Where's she going now?
Oh, only a 9. Hengist is awful.
That's the worst roll I've ever had in my life.
I thought I hit it, but if I didn't and I get 2 that come up, forgive me.
You got the 12.
Cool.
That's,
Look at that roll.
Oh, the boys are back. Watch out for this check.
There we go. That's, well.
That's so terrible.
If this woman comes up with like 32, I'm like, what?
No.
Yeah.
She's definitely not 32. So
Versus
yeah,
Morton's 12.
so she sort of like comes wielding out and sort of like swinging it round, and Cyrus, all your combat training out in the fields with the soldiers sort of like goes into action. Yeah, what would you like to do on 20?
I don't think we've ever really discussed if this is possible, but is it possible that I can roll shove on an item in someone's hand?
It has to be an object.
Well, yeah, I'm talking like
Flash.
the cleaver in her hand.
Yeah,
Could I roll shove on the cleaver of the hand? Maybe I can like.
let's see what it says.
Yeah, it's something I haven't really brought up, but it's something.
Is it a folk magic spell?
It is.
Da, 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 da. What does it say?
Oh, I
No,
actually.
Shove allows Shove allows the caster to telekinetically move an object by giving it a single crude push. The item is not moved with enough force to inflict damage, but it is subject to gravity, i.e. if you push something off a roof, it would kill the person underneath. The spell effects amount equal to the living targets can resist with either their endurance or evade. So it's a bit like Gulliver's teleport spell. So tell me what you want to do if you cast shove on it.
So as she like as she like kind of extends her arm with her cleaver, I want the extension. So essentially, as she extends it, shove it try to shove it out of her hand.
Yeah, and I think what I'm going to say is that you can shove it out of the way of things, but I think if you shove the cleaver, it's just going to take her hand with it. So you could, if you wish, I like this idea, leave it as almost like a counter spell. So if it was about to hit Hengist on the head, you could shove it out the way to try to protect him, or you could try to shove it now and see whether or not she will get a resist in any case. She gets a resist of endurance or invade.
Should I just shove her?
It's completely up to you. I say
If I shove her, it's not it doesn't inflict damage, so I might as well just maybe shove her.
Yeah, are you going to shove her back into the?
The point is that my hope is to shove her to where she gets knocked down prone.
Yeah. Okay then. So do you want to shove her back into the room the house that she's come out, or do you want to shove her down towards the bottom of the map?
Back into her room.
Okay. So yeah, folk magic skill then. Folk magic skill. Off you go first.
Come on, baby.
And she breaks her neck on the door jamb.
Yeah. So she will roll her. Both of them are actually bad, but her evade is actually better than her endurance. So she doesn't make it. So you sort of like go like this, and almost like a Luke Skywalker moment, and she sort of like topples back into the room, and I'm going to say that she does fall prone onto the ground she probably trips over on the little doorstep, and she's now prone on the ground, but she is still she's still wielding this butcher's knife. Bartleby.
Hasra's got the same roll as me, but it didn't go up onto the initiative order. I don't know if he had a penalty or something, but his initiative bonus is higher than me, so he should be going before me.
I didn't. Do you know? I thought we were one person missing on the roll. Let me add.
Oh my god, it's my fault not clicking my token before rolling.
That's what was it? 12.
Yeah,
Oh,
but his
yes.
initiative bonus is higher than mine by 2. So
Brilliant. Okay then. So Hasra, you're next up. Thank you.
I've just seen that Cyrus has pushed this woman back into the doorway.
You can
He's
get
going to
up
move.
unless you want to crawl.
Hypothetically, it was Cyrus. She could have done it herself. You don't know this.
Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
What's going on?
He was sneezing.
Oh, okay.
Coughing, sorry.
Coughing! Coughing! Just let me cover up my mic.
Yeah,
Oh!
it's a thing that's worse than farting at the moment.
So your action will probably be you can either stay on the floor or get up.
No, I'm going to stand up. I can't move off that, can I?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So I'll stand up and prepare and brace for it.
Brace for a charge. And Bartleby.
I would like to use a
Calm,
prayer,
sorry,
folk
yeah.
magic.
Are you doing calm?
I thought about that initially, but
But you thought, stuff that, I'm going to shock the bitch.
no, I'd like
calm down now.
I've had a rough day.
I'd like to see if there's any
Might.
invisible entities that might be like controlling her or
Okay,
active magic.
Go for it.
Next turn is calm. Don't worry.
Yeah, you sort of like looking. There seems to be no magical manifestations around her, in her, over. She just looks like she is probably really mad with maybe lack of sleep or something that is driving her to insanity. Hengist, you're up on 9. Hengist, you can run up and dive if you wish.
Rebel.
Hengist is,
Or
Hengist is
move.
gonna-
Switch your swords around and just go.
Hengist wouldn't do that to Lady Nico. No, Hengist is going to go up and he's going to
Grapple with her on the
grapple
floor.
with her. Yeah. Well,
Oh, get off me!
she's on the floor, so he's going to put his hand on the wrist.
Oh,
He
yeah,
wants to step on the wrist that has the
Is
sword.
this the reason why you keep up the guard?
Rough arrest, mate. That's why. No, Hengist is going to try and restrain her.
Okay then. So that
good.
yeah.
She's
So
really
so
bad.
that would be a normal grapple roll. So you need to do your unarmed attack skill. What?
Hengist uses a point of luck to reverse that roll.
After glancing at the time, I use a point of luck.
Oh my god, what?
No, I'm trying to use the spacebar demute button, and I keep looking because I keep not hitting the spacebar.
Okay, so I need to make a unarmed combat roll. So what's yours? 47 out of 49.
Yeah.
Oh, she gets a 20, but she actually fails. Her unarmed combat is 6. So she actually fails. So you've now got her pinned to the ground or in a grapple. How are you holding on to this woman?
So he will have.
I'm just saying, Hatra's going to take a knee.
No, so he will have. I can't think how to do this without saying he's sitting on top of her. Basically,
You can sit on top of her.
I don't want to sit on top of her, but that's all I can think of to say.
So you see Hengist pile in there and sit on top of her, probably pinning.
Rubber arms.
But
rubber
yeah,
arms,
pin her
rubber-
arms down, and she's
Move the separate.
she sort of like swing her head backwards and forwards, and
Which hand has she got the knife in?
her left,
The
right,
or left?
right hand, yeah.
The right arm.
You got both arms.
So he's got his right hand holding her right wrist, and then he will be using his left knee and his hand to restrain her torso.
Okay, she tries to recover with her unarmed combat or brawn skill, but she gets a 39, and she's completely pinned down to the floor, and she tries to spit at you and scream at you, and just at that point, Bartleby, you sort of like catch something out your eye, and Christoph sort of like goes to the door and he sort of like sees a commotion and he says, "Mr. Bartleby, is everything okay?" As he sees these old women's legs sort of like shaking out of the doorway.
No, I don't think this is okay.
Could you move your party somewhere else? This is kind of bad for all of our businesses. And
Indeed it is.
and he sort of like moves back around. And I will say that you can calm her, get her, put her to sleep, knock her unconscious or whatever you want. Just before we finish, can you just roll a healing roll for me, Bartleby?
I'd be offended if you asked anybody else.
Perhaps I should have done.
Ask anybody else.
I have a last point of luck.
Roll it.
Lucky rolls.
Yes! So two
Last roll
things.
of the night.
Shot.
Two things that you notice. Number one, she's not possessed or anything like that. She's obviously been driven crazy by lack of sleep and haunting voices, and her emotion, her stress is high off the scale, which you figure is sort of like really what is happening, in the sense that this Dream Stalker drives everybody until they're completely almost like insane, which then gets them to attack. They probably see other people as the enemy, etc., etc. And just as we close the scene on this week's session, that you all get this feeling that if the Dream Stalker is not found and eliminated, what just happened in the street could become an occurrence with a lot more people. And it could be that Lindowe turns into that deserted village that Sylvester warned you all about.
Is there a possibility it could be Cyrus's ex-wife?
Which one? So
I was about to look at the guy that came out, and I was like, 4 for 1 special.
yeah, yeah. Cyrus was saying, looking. Name of wife? Check this.
Sorry,
No,
my name is Jim the Fish.
Nothing written there.
Wife 1 is to kill.
It was just ready to quickly scribble something down.
Woman, I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
Woman, though.
So nice grapple, Mr. Hengist, taking the old lady down there. And I did think a
Yes, the
calm
old lady
spell would be
tackler.
a lot more.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think you've got quite a few bits of information. Remember, there are your character plot lines running underneath this as well. So always try to separate out the two. They might not all be connected in that sense. But on a positive, you have managed to get the hairy hobgoblin up and running, so you've been successful in that part of the adventure. And I think next week, if we're playing or whenever we play, it'll probably allow us to bring this to a close. If you can, hopefully you will find the Dream Stalker and dispose of it before it disposes of Lindowe. And then, of course, if you are successful, you will become legends. You know, if anybody...
You said that last time. When we saved the world last time.
If anybody believes
It's been said every time.
I know.
Oh,
Every
God,
time,
okay.
but
I feel like we don't get enough praise for actually saving the world every
Can I
week.
say that I do have a reputation table that I add notes to each character, each group of people, and to see. So Cyrus, you have a lot of red on your.
Perhaps
Really?
a little bit of amber next to Sylvester.
Well, maybe.
What a surprising ally.
It will say legend,
Potential
but I
ally.
do believe he means
Legend. Yeah.
Yeah.
As Hasra pauses,
Legend.
freezes. So you froze just as you said leg.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of Hasra leg lying around in the street somewhere.
Okay, people, thank you to everybody who came along and supported us this evening. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. And yeah, thank you once again for an exciting session. No problem at all, Buddy Box. I'm glad you all enjoyed it. Yeah? Oh, it's going to be so exciting next week, Darth says. And Big Beastie said, this wasn't a dream, question mark.
This entire.
I think there's a bit of
Life is a dream, Big Beastie.
yeah, there's a bit of
Life is a dream.
sarcasm there. I don't normally recognise sarcasm.
Big BC, let me video myself. Can we have a shower?
Oh.
Hello?
What?
What? Where did that come from?
Dallas. Nobody remembers Dallas.
Oh, Dallas.
Bobby Ewing, come in the shower.
Yeah, Bobby Ewing. Yeah.
The whole season.
She
of,
opened
like,
the
it's
shower
just a
door
dream.
and he was
Oh,
there. Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm a little bit feeling a
Nobody
little
else
bit more
remembers.
reassured that Inwills knows what Medivac's talking about.
yeah.
Otherwise, I'm thinking it
Oh
was
my
literally
God.
Medivac's dream.
With J.R. Ewing, who shot
J.R.
J.R.
Ewing. Well, who did?
Yeah,
It
well,
was Cliff, wasn't it?
The 80s was a weird time.
Oh,
it was. Yeah, not as bad as the 60s, though. So, right,
got
people,
text.
we are going to head off. Thank you for coming along and supporting us. Remember that if you would like to see all the information about the world that the characters adventure in, or even my adventure notes once the adventure is finished, then you can do that by going across to the Patreon page and signing up. So we can continue to play this. Until next week, hopefully we'll all be back next week. And if we're not, then I can only say that the dream catcher might have caught us. Until then, look after yourself, stay safe, and we'll see you all next week. See you later. Goodbye. Say goodbye.
I was dreaming.
Work.
This video is sponsored by the design mechanism, the makers of Mythras. Mythras is a registered trademark of the Design Mechanism Inc., used with permission. All rights reserved.